This episode of the BJJ Campaign podcast is brought to you by Speed Pro East Bay in Alameda, California, in the heart of the San Francisco Bay Area. They're the source for premium visual solutions to spruce up your interior space. From window decals and wall murals to conference room graphics and directional signage, create a work environment that is tailored to your brand. They'll not only print your custom graphics, but do installation as well. Visit eastbayspeedpro.com. That's EASTBAYSPEEDPRO.com. And mention the BJJ Campaign podcast for 15% off your first order. Also, Eddie is a Jiu-Jitsu guy, so folks go out there and support him.
I'm about to feed him to the sharks right now. Get him hype right now. Yeah. You know the ground is up. Yeah. Everybody that trains, you know the game. Yeah. So let's get it. Slap it up, bump it, and roll. Hey. Yeah, that's the way that it goes. Ain't no better way to better yourself in this game. You're feeling the growth. That's time on the mat. We put in the work. Believe it ain't easy, I know. But we train for the love of the game, the love of the art. Now slap it up, bump it, let's roll.
Welcome to episode 62 of the BJJ Campaign podcast. My name is Jeff Boone. I'm an A3 blue belt, 3 stripes.
Phil Kors, A2, blue belt, 2 stripes.
Philly, this is our holiday episode that we're doing today.
Yes.
We're going to express the gifts that Jiu-Jitsu has given us. Correct. And I was looking up, expressing gifts or gratitude towards that. And I was looking that up, and the Huffington Post had something in the neuroscience of gratitude. It says when we take the time to ask what we're grateful for, certain neural circuits are activated. Production of dopamine and serotonin increases, and these neurotransmitters then travel neural pathways to the bliss center of the brain, similar to the mechanisms of many antidepressants. So it's healthy to express gratitude.
Makes sense.
So what gifts or what gratitude would you like to express about what Jiu-Jitsu has given you?
Give me a bunch. We can start with yours, though. I like yours better.
Okay. Fair enough. So the number one thing and the reason that I got into Jiu-Jitsu was for health reasons. I was in bad shape. I was in poor health. My blood work was abysmal. I was 100 pounds overweight. And so I'm grateful for the gift of health that Jiu-Jitsu has given me and longevity. And I'm certain because I am doing Jiu-Jitsu that I will live longer. So that's the number one thing for me.
Agreed. Yeah. I have some very similar, definitely notice the same benefits as far as health goes, from learning different things about food and how it affects me, and especially with digestion, stuff on my skin with the psoriasis. And I had made improvements in the past, but it wasn't until starting jiu-jitsu and being I'm tired. Why am I tired? And finding out how much the diet helps the cardio, and then it's going to fix jiu-jitsu. So it has these secondary benefits to the health, but so it's funny that jiu-jitsu seems to be the primary driver in most of those.
For sure. And Phil, when you started jiu-jitsu, were you still drinking?
No.
You weren't? How long before jiu-jitsu did you stop?
Probably over a year.
Oh, it was over a year. Okay.
Yeah.
So you were starting to get back in shape, right?
Yeah, that actually does make it easier to put it that way. Yeah, so I would say maybe a year and a half, because I had stopped smoking probably 2 years before that, 3 years before that.
I can't see smoking.
Pack
Phil.
a day, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I don't believe vaping is safe, but if they figure out a way to make cigarettes safe, I'm right back on that train. They're the best.
No way.
Yeah, they're the best. Yeah. it's worse than coffee. Yeah. Yeah.
Folks, that's saying a lot if he says it's worse than coffee, because he's just down his 17th cup of coffee this morning.
Yeah, I'm still sweating. Yeah, I'm still sweating because I was in a heated debate with your nephew there, and he was being silly, acting like he was correct. So, yeah, I had stopped smoking, stopped drinking. Then I wanted to try to lose some weight, started exercising and things like that. But, I mean, in all reality, I like the improvements I was making, how I felt better and definitely looked better, but I hated working out. You know what I mean? Like that wasn't fun.
Unless you trick yourself and do jiu-jitsu, and then it's a workout and fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, similarly, and I've told this story before, but I think it bears repeating, and that is that whenever I called and was like, I'm a total fat ass, I want to come in and do jiu-jitsu, but I need to lose weight before I do jiu-jitsu. And John said, that's ridiculous. You'll lose weight whenever you come into jiu-jitsu. So, and he was right.
It is. And then it's the same thing where it's, you know, people are like, oh, I don't want to go to open mat because I don't know what to do. And I'm like, what if I told you that just going to open mat, you'll figure out what to do?
Whoa. That's crazy, Phil.
You're going to kind of figure it out.
You know what? Now's a good time to pause and kind of reflect. For the listeners out there, Phil and I do group privates every so often with our professor, John Plyler, and we were doing one this morning, and it was on the crucifix position.
Mm-hmm.
And it made me wonder how many other positions are out there that I'm regularly in that I have no idea. I really, which is probably naive, and I'm admitting this, you know, and everybody's gonna be like, "Oh my God, you didn't know that," but here it is. I had no idea about how to get into the crucifix position and about where it comes up and everything like that. And which makes me wonder, like, because I feel like I have a pretty solid base understanding of the positions that we're in and somewhat basic entries into different positions, Kimuras, other things like that. But honestly, I had really no idea on that crucifix stuff, and it's really enlightening. And like even just doing that hour lesson, like I was a totally inept at anything to do with it. And at the end of the hour is like, oh man, that makes sense, and the movements make sense, and I can see implementing it immediately. I mean, obviously in the lab, in the practice environment, open mat environment, I can see immediately implementing it and being able to force that position, not force it, but being able to make that position come up.
Take it when it's there. It's like, remember we were watching the Cowterra, I think, half guard stuff a long time ago.
Yes.
And we keep talking about this, but yeah, I remember when you were showing it to me, and then I think the words I said was, "Oh, I'm never in that position." And then I got thinking about it a couple minutes later, and I was like, probably in that position all the time. I just don't know it. You know,
I remember you saying that.
It always comes up, but I'm in a race to familiar. Like if I don't know where to go back to where I'm comfortable. Go back to somewhere you know. And then tying all those things together, that's how I realized, like I wanted to ask John, but I really didn't get a chance about that. What Charlie calls the dogfight position. I think it's kind of like in a half guard situation where we're both trying to get up and pushing back and forth. And, you know, where to go from there, because all of a sudden through trying these other new things, I find myself in this other position. And I just looked at Charlie one night and I was like, what do you do when this happens? Like I keep ending up here, you know? And it's that problem solving approach. And it's like, if I'm not having the problem, understanding the answer is hard. But when I'm in that problem, and that's why the crucifix lesson was fun for me, because I'm now seeing that I should be doing it and I'm trying to do it. And it's, you know, I'm hitting roadblock after roadblock with it. And it's like, all right, well, how do you do it? Because you've probably already been through it.
No, you know? He got me in the crucifix last week.
So,
which really made me want to learn about it, right? and also, honestly, that setup that he used by sprawling the initial leg that any wrestler is going to shoot in on and then giving them the crucifix leg, it's brilliant.
And it's not, I don't even think it takes a wrestler, because I grabbed those legs. That's how I was, that was that position. I even told you about it the night it happened with Rich. And I was like, I grabbed the wrong leg and I tried to lift in that position and I hurt my back. And I was like, and what really pisses me off is I grabbed the legs he should have crucifixed me with, but he didn't know to do it.
Sure.
So I know I'm doing it wrong, but I'm still going to grab it. Like I need to grab something.
I'm not going to grab it anymore ever again. I'm not. I'm just going to go, no, I'm going to try to duck under and pull guard if I can. Honestly, that's what it taught me.
It's a good idea. I still grab that leg when I'm in that position.
I'm going to.
All right.
I might do it one more time, but that's it. That's it.
I'm never going to put my head down on a double leg. I know better.
So let me, yeah, exactly. Folks, he puts his head down every double leg. Let me go back to what you said, because I thought that was really interesting. And that is, whenever you found yourself in that position, you went back to a more familiar position. Do you think it would be more advantageous to, boy, this is a hard one. To
explore the unknown position? No, because
I don't either.
No, because you can't.
Because you don't know.
Because you don't know where you are. It takes, I think after I see it a couple times, I don't know how many times during a roll I've just looked at somebody and been like, that was weird. I don't know what that was. And it still happens. A new either position or set up movements, and all of a sudden I end in like, our feet are touching each other and we're facing in opposite directions. And I'm like, I don't know what just happened. That still happens all the time to me. But if it only happens that once and never again, why is that worth my time looking into? But if I see that I'm always here and I keep getting back to this, and again, I'm a slow learner. I'm going to mess it up a bunch of times. I'm going to get into the spot 35 times before I'm like, hang on, there has to be a better way to do something about this. How do I stop this? Because it keeps happening. So
to ask the same question, but maybe a slightly different question, and that is, do you think it's important to note if you're in one of those weird positions, to like just take a note in your notes and say, hey, maybe later, because that's what, just thinking about it, that's what I think I'm going to do from now on. If I find myself in that position, in a position that I'm not familiar with, maybe just jot it down in my BJJ notes or something like that, and ask John, like, what should you do here? And then he'll probably be like, well, you shouldn't probably get there. But
yeah, I guess. But I mean, I feel like I typically don't wait that long, like I saw it and I had the question and I get the answer. I'm not going to remember all the answers anyway, and we did it again with that position that happens to me when I have like a choke on the back and I lose the position and people are kind of driving back into me with their weight off the floor. And I had kept trying to run away, because if I can run away enough and get their, I don't know how to describe this position really good, but say if my right hand is under their neck.
It's basically the crucifix position without the arm. So, is what it is.
Yeah.
And the person who you have in still have the choke, but they're driving back into you.
Yes, and their weight is like pressing into my chest, and they're driving backwards. I had tried to run away, which works sometimes, and then I can come up I typically would come up and attempt like a clock choke if I can escape my hip away. And John who said, just hip escape under.
Yeah,
because it was funny. They want to go that way, so go with them. Let them go that way. And the other day they did the wall pin defense, which basically is somebody's grabbing and jacking you up against the wall. You lean into them, force them to push back, step to the side, and let them go where they want to go. And one of the kids asked, he goes, so you're basically using their force against them? And John was like, that's what jiu-jitsu is. Mm-hmm. But still never ready to see it until you're ready to see it. It's funny.
And just thinking about that whenever you're talking about it, it was like going back to the basic principles of attacking and defense. If you're attacking, you want to close distance. If you're defending, you want to, as a general rule, you want more distance. So in that position, when you were in an attacking position, you were actually defending. So instead of attacking, in other words, closing that distance and making less room for movement, you were going away, which, I mean, I think that's why I like conceptually think about jiu-jitsus, because that makes sense to me now.
Yeah.
But I was doing the same thing you were doing. Mm-hmm. So.
And that's why I say if you just go to open mat, you'll figure it out, because there's a reason that it works, and it works because there's a natural instinct and reaction that people are going to have. But if you don't ever explore what the natural reactions are, you can't ever learn how to have a better reaction.
Right. True. All right. That was good. That was really fun this morning. I really enjoyed it.
No, I did too. I think that position's really good. And, it's just going back to watching those instructionals out of nowhere, and I see something pop up and I'm like, that happens to me all the time. That seems like a good answer to the problem I'm having. Let's look into that. But, the more I think about it, it's, can we beat the problem before it's a problem? And yeah, that's way better, and trying to figure out how to do it.
You just sound like Eddie Bravo there. Let's look into it.
We should look into it.
We are looking into it. Great. What's another gift that jiu-jitsu has given you?
For me, I think it really took kind of time together, but like the education and learning stuff and the competitive, void, like I played a lot of sports growing up. I was competitive. I played like video games for competition reasons for a long time. And, that got not so fun after a while. And I think
why did it get not so fun after a while?
Part of it was the games were less fun. I'm very picky. I only play certain ones. Like I don't say I like video games. I say I like one specific game mode and one specific game. Like if I don't want to play the VR, I don't care. I don't think a lot of games are.
We're going to do that to get to be world-class boxers.
That's true.
Because I've got the boxing game on VR now, and I'm going to be throwing hands.
But and that kind of died, and that killed it's not fun when you're like better than 99% of the people who play it. The competition was the fun part. And I think jiu-jitsu picked that up immediately. And then the education and learning, kind of tying those together and how to get better at it. But while doing that, the improvements to everything else were worth it. It was worth the time investment. When I was winning at a video game, it wasn't worth it. It was a lot of time and it was fun, but it's not like you don't get anything else. I wouldn't recommend my friend starts playing video games all of a sudden, like that's not going to improve anything else.
Yeah, agreed. And I think one of the reasons, and similarly with me and other ventures, whether it was wrestling or mountain biking or kayaking or anything like that, I got into a certain level of proficiency again at that 99%.
Yeah.
But that's never going to be attainable at jiu-jitsu for me. And that's what I love about it. That's exactly what I love about jiu-jitsu is that I'm never going to be in that 1%. Or guess what? Maybe so. Maybe in the overall worldwide scheme of things, I am, but not even in my own academy, in our own training environment, are we going to be that 1%?
Right.
Which is appealing to me.
Yeah. It's hard to answer this question because I have a hard time separating them because they kind of all feed into each other. And that's why I think it's good, to come up with a list of gifts that it gave you, but I have a hard time isolating the fact that I enjoy competing from the fact that it helps me become healthier to the fact that it's the only reason I have friends. I think they're all tied together. Yeah,
of course they're all tied together, which brings me to my next item that dovetails right off of what we were talking about, and that is the struggle of jiu-jitsu. The only place for personal growth is in a struggle. Mm-hmm. Not the only. One of the main places for personal growth is by struggling. A lot of what we do, or a lot of what I do today, is not a struggle. I mean, there's certain aspects of it, of work, that are a struggle sometimes, things like that, but nothing like jiu-jitsu, because every single day is a struggle, is something that you want to learn and get better at. So just having that struggle and being able to adapt and have comfort in an uncomfortable situation. And that's where for me, that's where I feel the growth comes in.
I agree 100%. I think that's kind of what we were arguing about once you left is
Nick.
Yeah, I'm saying, I think more people should at least try jiu-jitsu, because I think it does take a different type of person to totally become obsessed with it, to the point, past all the benefits. Like I'm not getting the health benefits more because I train 6 days a week. It might actually be on the opposite side where I'm beating myself up a little bit more, but doesn't matter, you know?
We're not talking about sacrifices. We're talking about benefits.
Right. But, you know, and I'm saying I think there's a lot of people that don't have necessarily all that much struggle, where a lot of things are pretty easy and comfortable in life now, you know, where you kind of, I'll take you as the example, where if you didn't seek out the physical discomfort and the physical struggle, you could have happily lived the rest of your life with whatever you wanted to do. And that would have been it.
A much shorter life. Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
But you're right.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. I mean, and I don't think I'm a microcosm. I think I am probably the norm in what we see in America today, and that is that I'm not saying that there aren't people out there struggling each and every day, because there are, but overwhelmingly we're in the best time that we've ever known in the world today.
Yeah.
Things are easier than we've ever known today. Think about the people on the Serengeti that we evolved from, that were out there struggling to get food each and every day. We don't have any of those struggles.
Yeah.
And this, for me, I feel like feels that primal urge for that struggle.
Agreed. I guess I have a hard time explaining it, but I think that's what a lot of people might be missing, that they don't realize they're missing, because I didn't even know it existed, really. Like, I was vaguely familiar with the UFC, but I wouldn't have known the difference between like wrestling and jiu-jitsu. Like, obviously I know boxing, but outside of that, punching, kicking, I didn't know what was happening, you know? So I think there's a lot of people who don't know. I wish they did, you know? And I think a lot more people would get all these other benefits if they knew.
Speaking of which, I saw a post, I can't remember on which jiu-jitsu forum on Facebook or group on Facebook, but there's a post. This one guy brought 5 of his coworkers with him, and 4 of them are still going.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Kudos to him.
Yeah, I mean,
those are some badass HVAC guys.
I think a lot of people would do it, man. And it's, especially with the competitive stuff, but I guess at the same time, it's super hard. Like, I can see how it would be. I forget who I heard say it, but yeah, you basically become a doctor in the same amount of time it takes to become like a black belt.
Yeah.
You know, like it's like that kind of commitment to, like, before you're competent. And then how many times have we heard a black belt be like, I got my black belt and I didn't think I was very good.
Yeah.
You know,
that's why we call him professor. Right? I mean, that's it. It's a sign of respect, and respect that's well earned. And, you know, just thinking about it, like, you know, after I'm done with my career and whatever, just thinking about pathways, and I think about this a lot, is like, I think it's Leo Vieira who's trying to worldwide get jiu-jitsu in physical education in elementary, junior high, and high schools. I mean, how great would that be if you just had some sort of exposure to
awareness,
you know, just some sort of because it's such a vehicle to optimize yourself. It's incredible. And, you know, so, you know, maybe whenever I'm done with my career, that's something that I can get into and somehow make a meaningful impact to have more people try jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Who knows? I try to get people to try jiu-jitsu all the time.
You do. Very aggressively.
I'm a salesman, Phil. I want to close that deal.
What other ones do you have down for gifts?
So that was, yeah, again, this all kind of goes together, but it is all jiu-jitsu, and that's, you know, the camaraderie, that you get from regularly trusting your training partners in compromising positions. You know, the tap is, I remember John saying it one time, the tap is simulated death. In other words, when you tap, you've got no option to get out of that. right? So that's a simulation of death. To have that trust, to build it quickly builds that camaraderie with people. Just it's kind of it breaks down barriers that you would normally have socially that would allow you to know right away whether you could trust someone, because that's always in the back of our minds whenever we're meeting someone is, are they trustworthy, or is this, should I have my guard up or anything like that? I think that somebody that's doing jiu-jitsu, you inherently already know what their motivation is for the most part, right? I mean, I'm not saying everyone does jiu-jitsu is a great person, because what was the quote, at everyone's best they're a really good person, and everyone's worst they're despicable. And that could be for anyone. That could be for me or you or anyone else out there. But that camaraderie that it's given me, that common thread with everyone who, if you're in the airport and you see someone with a jiu-jitsu shirt on, you're like, hey, you talk. Well, if you're me, you immediately talk to them and strike up a conversation. And if there's a place to roll, you roll.
Yeah. I mean, it's well known. It's the only reason I have friends. I mean, I'm not going to talk to the person at the airport. I will if they talk to me, and especially if they talk about jiu-jitsu. But other than that, it's, I don't just walk up and talk to people, because you're weird for that. But yeah, I mean, that's the reason I have the friends I do now. It's the main reason I have the girlfriend I have now, is because, like, before I wouldn't have gone out to meet anyone,
You wouldn't have left your house.
Nope. Not necessary,
Yeah, no. And you know what, too? I mean, along those same lines, just, you and I mean, the bond, the trust that we share, I'm super thankful for that. To be able to do this each and every week, it's never a chore, like I look forward to every single week sitting here with you, whether anybody's listening or not, and just talking about jiu-jitsu and trying to discover new things about it and new benefits of it. So yeah, I mean, that's, it will bring people into your life that you would have otherwise never known. So
100%. Everybody from doctors and lawyers to kids and students. I mean, it's up and down, the whole social, whatever,
social, spectrum, racial,
whatever you call it,
anything, any spectrum. It transcends political, social, racial barriers, which is the great thing about it. So yeah, and just being able to travel, do it, going to Origin Camp, meeting so many like-minded people that experience what we experience, to be able to identify it, because they say, whenever you get your blue belt, you're in the 1% of the world that has combat training to where you can sufficiently defend yourself. So yeah, I mean, I think that's a real positive benefit as well.
Yeah, that confidence and not having to worry as much. I mean, again, we live in the time we do. It's not like I was walking around like afraid of being mugged all the time or anything, but the difference now.
Or a saber-toothed tiger coming and eating you.
Got to worry about the lions,
Yeah.
So, but it is good to know. I mean, there's just the difference in knowledge is insane.
Very true. What else, Phil? What else is another gift that you've experienced from jiu-jitsu?
Did we just do friends? I feel like that was my other one. What was the last one?
Friends, yeah. Friends, camaraderie.
Yeah, what was the last one you had?
Camaraderie. That was it.
I thought you had 3.
That was it, yeah. Yeah, it was health benefits, overcoming struggle, and camaraderie.
Okay. Overcoming struggle was on your list?
Yeah.
Okay. You juked me out with a list.
What?
Yeah,
I sent you the list the other night.
You juked me out. It's okay. For me, it gave me, like, and that's when I say it is hard to separate. It really did give me like a whole purpose for like how I live my entire life. I am weird, you know? So, but like I've focused everything on that between training, eating, sleeping, things for recovery, whether it's baths or a chiropractor or a sauna, or skipping ice baths. Everything is for recovery to go back and train again.
Julie B, I was so hurt by that.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I just, I knew I was right. I just didn't know why.
You weren't right. It was for strength. So let's clarify this just for the audience. On the BJJ Campaign Facebook group. If you're not out there on it, get on it. But
I want to preface this by, this is the guy who told you to wrap up your tapeworm or whatever it is.
Tapeworm.
Ringworm.
Don't wrap up a tapeworm. It's impossible. That was a mistake. I'll make mistakes. That's very true.
Comes another one. Go ahead.
So Julie B, part of the Facebook group, she posted an article that was on ice baths too soon after physical training. And I think they were really more talking about building muscle can inhibit muscle growth.
And it was recovery.
No, I thought it inhibited muscle growth whenever I read it. It wasn't recovery. It was helping inflammation. But the reason it helps inflammation is it stops that process of breakdown. And so if you're trying to build muscle, maybe don't get in an ice bath 1 to 2 hours after you're done training. Let those muscles break down first and then do it.
My understanding was that it goes through the inflammation period and then your body pushes out whatever is in there. I don't know what that is, but it pushes it out.
It's an anti-inflammatory. Yes.
All that ice is doing is delaying that process from happening, and you'd be better off letting it be inflamed and then stretching and mobility work afterwards, because that is what forces
an ice bath after you
it forces it out. So my definition of too soon is at any point ever. And it's working so far.
So I'm still going to do the ice baths, but I will not do it immediately after training, which I never did really anyway. Mm-hmm. So just really, it hurt my feelings, Julie.
Yeah.
Just,
Best article I've ever read. Saved it. But anyway, back to that it essentially gives me a structure to my entire life, a purpose, and that's what I like to do. And between the podcast and just talking to people in the limited amount that I do, it is to try to get more people to at least experience and try it, because like I understand if you try it, and I understand some people's priorities are different. They don't care. I understand some people don't like it and want to do it. I think they might need it more, but it is what it is. At least they tried. For me, it changed everything when I tried it. And there's not much that's similar to myself of like 3 years ago that there is today. A lot of it's different.
Yeah, agreed. And kind of along that same line, in life outside of jiu-jitsu, there's no way that you and I would ever be as close as we are now.
No, I never would have met.
Never would have met, because you don't go out of the house. I mean, True. I go out of the house, but and I'll talk to everybody, but you'd have been like, who is this weirdo?
Yeah, can you please stop?
But it's also given me that perspective that, someone like you who is not an extrovert, let's just say, it gives me that understanding of, well, it's just you're just a different person. Doesn't mean you're better or worse or different. You're capable of all the same things that anyone can do. It's just that it's given me that where I wouldn't otherwise get to know someone that was like that. It's given me that. So I am very thankful for that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it would have this effect on everybody, because I don't think everybody needed the same amount of structure and stuff that I did. Mm-hmm. Because I'll fall right off. Like I'll go back, I'll eat a bunch of cookies and stuff every once in a while. you know, and it has a bad effect on like digestion, skin, how like energy levels, how long I can roll. Like it's completely negative. There's no good thing about it. And, you know, that kind of goes back to like what I was just arguing with Nick about when he's talking about what happiness is. And I'm like, that's not, you know, it's giving into weakness. It's relief. I feel good for like 4 seconds and then I regret it. And I hate that I did it.
The cookies.
And yeah, you know,
it's 4 seconds after you eat the entire pack.
True.
Not
yeah.
just
While I'm doing it.
If it was 4 seconds after the first cookie, you'd be okay.
Right. But you know, that was my whole argument is that's not happiness. That's just relief. It's giving into the weakness of, you know, and not to say never have a cookie. Like I did it over Thanksgiving. I ate whatever I wanted, you know, because the indulging every once in a while I think is okay. And because I can turn that on and off, you know, there's certain things I haven't been able to do that with. So now I don't do them at all.
Right.
You know, it's not like I can smoke one cigarette. It's a terrible idea. It's going to be smoking a whole bunch of them soon. So it's like never touching it again. But anyway, I don't know. It gave me the purpose, and I'm thankful it does connect everywhere. And I'm thankful I can't like turn the jiu-jitsu switch off in my head because it positively impacts everything else. I think if I stopped training jiu-jitsu now, it wouldn't take long to go back and destroy all the positive benefits that have come from it.
Maybe not all, but most.
Most would come right back.
Yeah. No, agreed. Totally agree. I want to give a shout out to one of our listeners. And Phil, what if I told you that we have a listener who has never done jiu-jitsu and will likely never do it? What if I told you that?
They'll do it.
So the shout out is for one of my good friends and coworkers, Karen Keegan. She's the one who the past couple of years has set up that introduction to jiu-jitsu that I do every year at our training camp. That's been, in my opinion, very successful in bringing people together, kind of knowing more about jiu-jitsu, exposed a lot more people to jiu-jitsu, and actually 4 people are now doing jiu-jitsu. I'm not going to say because of it, but certainly not because of it, you know? So she sets that up every year and really highlights it on all of the notifications that we get. So I want to thank Karen for that. And she does listen every single week and doesn't do jiu-jitsu.
She's probably just training. She's waiting until she's good enough.
She's going to choke the shit out of me
to kick your butt.
It's a possibility. I wouldn't put it past her. She's a very talented woman.
It wouldn't take long.
So true. So true. So Phil, anything else as far as gratitude, gifts, anything that you can think of? I can't think of one gift. It's not that jiu-jitsu has given me, but one gift that you could get, and that is on the which is the website with the Christmas rash guards that James sent. FightHub.com. Man, those are cool. Rash guards are fire.
Yeah.
So if you go to FightHub.com.
And all the rash guards are the same that we have. They're really, really nice. I bought rash guards from a couple different companies, and they're my favorite.
Yeah, they're super comfortable, and you know, if you haven't taken advantage of it yet, we've extended the kitchen sink offer for all of them.
Indefinitely.
Yeah. Yep. $7,000 value.
Yep.
From what I understand from the website.
Yeah.
For $100.
Yep. You can pay $7,000 if you want.
Sure, we'll take it.
Yeah.
We'll take it.
It's up to you.
A special thanks to Eddie for sponsoring us. His sponsorship has come to an end, and you'll hear this episode of East Bay Speed Pro. So go out there and see him and tell him that we sent you. Also for the role model all women's jiu-jitsu camp in Indianapolis that AJ Klingerman and James are running.
I'm trying to get Molly. It's like trying to get a cat in a bathtub. It's like just all these excuses and reasons, and I'm like, you just do it. Just do it.
She would love it if she did it.
I know.
Yona's going.
I know.
She would know somebody there.
I know. It would be amazing. And
yeah, it's May 1st through 3rd, and it's filling up fast. I would imagine that by the first, because it's May, so I would imagine by January it's going to be full.
Probably, yeah.
You know, they've been putting different stuff out. You know, they've got a bunch of instructors, Nikki Sullivan, Hillary Van Ornum, really quality instruction.
They just announced some. They also gave us a nice shout out on the last Beauty and Nikki. I listened to their Christmas episode.
I haven't listened to it yet.
So that was cool. AJ and Jen gave us a shout out. They had, what did they say? They had a good suggestion. I can't remember if it was, they said like memberships and privates and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we said that one.
What is it?
Memberships and privates for a gift.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that'd be great.
Like if you got somebody a membership.
Yeah. No, I think that's fantastic. Yeah. How else can our listeners support us if they wish to do so?
BJJCampaignPodcast.com, the Facebook group. Post in the Facebook group. I know a couple people post some memes and videos and stuff. And
love them.
Instagram, YouTube, all the good stuff.
And, you know, support going out to Andrew Faraday of the Fight Game. He's in DC for Joe Selecki, now a transplant. He's from New Jersey, but North Carolina grappler, trains at Salty Dog, MMA fighter, is making his UFC debut this week. So super excited to see that. We've got also Saturday night, I'm hosting the Gordon Ryan and Bo Nickel on Flow Grappling, hosting that. Having a little party for that, get together.
Can't believe the start time. Just no
it's
respect.
9:00 p.m.
I have a bedtime.
Oh my God, you're such an old man. How old are you? Like 73?
It feels that way. After 9 p.m.
Well, the good news is it'll be over at 9:03.
Well, is there a card, or is he just start at 9?
I think they're going to do I don't think it's going to be like a whole. It's a
because that was my fears. They're going to have like 5 fights before it, and it's not going to start till like midnight.
No, I think it's probably going to be an hour's worth before. I can't remember the production. Damn it. I can't remember who's doing it. It's not Fight to Win or anything like that, but it's a production.
It looked like it was no gi, but in weird letters. I didn't know if that was also trying to say something else.
That's because the special rules set, I think, is why it said it.
Because it looked like it was saying no gi on that in the middle of the advertisement, those red letters.
Yeah.
But I didn't know if that was also saying something else, like if that was the company name or something.
No, I don't know. Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe, but I think there's going to be probably an hour's worth of matches before. I think it'll probably be 10:30 before the main event.
Good night.
Or maybe 1. I don't know.
Yeah, good night.
I'm not really worried about it. It's on a Saturday night, so
just check Instagram.
I've got highlights. 1 p.m. Sunday rolls after that. That's it. So I'm okay.
Yeah.
Either way.
Oh, well.
Anyway, folks, if you're not out there doing something to make yourself better each and every day, get out there and do it. Phil and I choose jiu-jitsu. We hope you do too. This episode of the BJJ Campaign podcast is brought to you by Speed Pro East Bay in Alameda, California, in the heart of the San Francisco Bay Area. They're the source for premium visual solutions to spruce up your interior space. From window decals and wall murals to conference room graphics and directional signage, create a work environment that is tailored to your brand. They'll not only print your custom graphics, but do installation as well. Visit eastbayspeedpro.com. That's EASTBAYSPEEDPRO.com. And mention the BJJ Campaign podcast for 15% off your first order. Also, Eddie is a jiu-jitsu guy, so folks go out there and support him.
I'm about to feed him to the sharks right now. Get him hype right now. Yeah. You know the ground is up. Yeah. Everybody that trains, you know the game. Yeah. So let's get it. Slap it up, bump it, and roll. Hey. Yeah, that's the way that it goes. Ain't no better way to better yourself in this game. You're feeling the growth. That's time on the mat. We put in the work. Believe it ain't easy, I know. But we train for the love of the game, the love of the art. Now slap it up, bump it, let's roll.